Not too long ago, when making this video, there was another playtest up and running when it comes to Splitgate 2. So I therefore thought I would share some thoughts and impressions now again, and I want you to feel free to do the same in the comments. Yes, there's been quite a few playtests recently that I've been checking out. Black Stigma, Mecha Break, and also Fragpunk. They do differ quite some, although they do have one thing in common at least. They are free-to-play games. Fragpunk was recently released, whilst Black Stigma and Mecha Break will be released later down the line this year. As many of you know, the first Splitgate game had a boost at some point when it comes to player count, since quite a few streamers and content creators highlighted the game. But Splitgate wasn't able to keep those numbers up, and today it is more or less a dead game. However, I enjoyed Splitgate 1 since I'm an old Halo fan by heart, and the developers 1047 Games didn't make a secret either out of the fact that they were heavily inspired by the Halo universe when making their first game. And maybe a bit of Portal as well, at least the Portal feature that they decided to bring into their arena shooter in order to give their game a twist and something that also added a bit of depth to the otherwise pretty straightforward arena shooter gameplay, where you spawn into the game and then fought for the power weapons situated on the maps a la Halo style. I like that kind of idea and design, which is common also in older arena shooters such as Quake as an example, but time has changed and the old school recipe when it comes to arena style shooters aren't as popular as they used to be, at least. In order to spice things up and bring something new to the table, Quake Champions added abilities to their champions when it was released in 2017. Features that wasn't so appreciated by many in the core community. So what does this have to do with Splitgate 2? Well, quite some, to be honest, I would say, since 1047 Games this time around has clearly been reevaluating their situation, their design when it comes to their upcoming game, and decided to move a bit more into the middle, if you will, when it comes to how Splitgate 2 plays and is designed. From a pretty clean arena shooter formula in their first game, they've now created a class system and also abilities. This can become to be a wise decision or the opposite around, since the niche kind of gameplay experience that you would find and get in Splitgate 1 is partly gone. What I mean is the simple fact that some casual players coming from, let's say, another franchise like Call of Duty might feel that, hey, I like and I recognize the class system, I'm used to it, also being able to change attachments of weapons, etc. Whilst the maybe more experienced arena shooter fan might feel that the game has become a bit too generic for their taste by trying to please a broader player base. Of course, there's also a category of players in between the two as described here, but I believe that by leaving their original concept of an arena shooter, they're also taking a risk, since Splitgate 2 now also compete with other games with similar builds regarding classes and somewhat hero shooter abilities. I'm just saying that since there's a risk that it might have the opposite effect that the devs are hoping for. This is one of my concerns, and also one of the things I thought about already when playing the first Splitgate Alpha Playtest. At the same time, I can understand that 1047 Games wants to try something new, or at least broaden the variables when it comes to more features and customization options in their sequel compared to their first game. And for their sake, I do hope that it will be received well. Although it is very hard nowadays to establish a new shooter or FPS title due to the competition. As I'm making this video, I just got to know, for example, that Shroud's shooter called Spectre Divide will be sunset after just around 6 months after release. But Splitgate 2 plays well already in the playtests, performance-wise, and they've come far already when it comes to their work, so I feel quite confident that they will be able to present a pretty polished and well-functioning game at launch, whenever that will be now in 2025. What we do know is that there will be an open beta playtest in May, so mark your calendars if you're thinking about playing some Splitgate 2 before the actual release once more, or if you want to try out the game for the first time. The game will have a cross-play feature, full controller support, and will also be available on the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. They stated also that the full game will be on older gen consoles as well. I hope that still stands. It was pretty fun to get back into game modes such as Hot Zone, which is a kind of a king of the hill game mode and one of the more standard 4v4 game modes in Splitgate 2. However, the new big thing, if you will, was the multi-team Portal Warfare modes, which adds a third team to make for 8v8v8 battles across the likes of Domination, Hot Zone, and Team Deathmatch modes on a pretty big map called Glacier. I'm glad that they're adding big team game modes, although it actually felt, at least for me, as if they could have added even a fourth team due to the big scale map where these fights took place. Was it only me that felt this? And because it sometimes was like a bit far between the points of interest and action. Well, either way, nice that they are adding such a game mode in the upcoming game. Looking forward to it. I therefore got interested to see what other people have been saying about the playtest so far. So I went on to Reddit and I'm just going to read a few of them, and you can fill in, as said early on in the video, what you experienced yourself when playing the game so far, and if you're looking forward to Splitgate 2 when it comes to the full release. So one guy is saying, awesome, I went from not using arrows at all in the last alpha to using it probably the most. I really love the slide perk or whatever, it makes movement feel so nice. Can't remember if the arrows burst rifle was in the last alpha or not, but it was super fun to use with the sliding. Yes, it's been talk about the movement and everything, and I think there's a way to actually slide along the map almost continuously if you use the jump button also in combination with sliding. I didn't really do that much, or actually I didn't find it out before I saw another video when it comes to YouTubers showing off that kind of movement. Another guy is saying in the same thread, was definitely having fun by the end of the playtest, appreciated the increase in portal surfaces, and I had a lot of sick moments where I outplayed my enemies with portals. That being said, it was too short to really judge everything the game had to offer, so hopefully there will be much longer playtests soon. And again, I'm reminding you guys that there will be an open playtest in May. I gotta put in one more saying here towards the end of the video. One guy says, I felt the TTK is in a perfect spot right now. He's referring to the time to kill in the game. Keep it the same, please, he says. I had one of the best gaming sessions of my life with this alpha. I've also enjoyed the playtest so far, maybe not the best gaming sessions of my life, but I am looking forward to try out the game once more in May. But there is a but for me, and that has to do with what I initially talked about. I am an old school gamer and I played arena shooters quite early on in my gaming career, if you will, and I just really like the old concept of not like having classes, because I do play quite a lot of class-based shooters as well. So I'm a bit like on the hold here. I want to see and play a bit more, and also I am very curious to see how this game will be received at launch by players, and of course also if they are able this time around to keep up the momentum, get content out there, and by doing so having a player base that won't disappear after like 3-4 months after the actual release, because that's often a very critical time when a new game has been released. With that said, my friends, let's see what happens, and if you enjoyed, give a thumb up on the video, it helps me out here on YouTube, and take care and game on, and we'll talk soon again in an upcoming video. Later.
Nearing score threshold. Keep it up.